there, welcome back. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. I want to chat today about when is the right time to raise your price, okay? This question comes up all the time, and know that every single person has a different perspective on it. This is just my perspective. Again, you could listen to 6 other podcasts today on the same topic and get probably 6 different opinions. But it's a topic that comes up all the time. And so what I'm going to do is walk you through the process that I take my clients through when it comes up, okay? So number one, first and foremost, there is definitely factors that you need to look at when it comes to raising your prices, especially if you're a product-based business or even a service-based business. I always try to take into consideration making sure that you're actually making money, right? There's a difference between revenue and profit. So just because you bring in $3,000 on a service, but if you're spending 85 hours to do it and you've put, you've got outsourcing and you've got a VA and all these other factors involved, there's a good chance that that $3,000 could actually only be netting you like less than 500, right? That's something you need to look at. You got to have actual factual number data as far as raising your prices. But I'm sure most of you aren't looking at it from that perspective. And so today, what I want to talk about is when is the right time? When is the right time to raise your price? Is it 6 months? I saw somebody, a different coach the other day, said that in the beginning of her business, she raised her price every 3 clients. Every time she got 3 clients and she sold it at one price, she would raise it. And then she'd get another 3 and she would raise it. That's a very interesting strategy. I had not heard of that. Again, the strategy for how to raise your price is there. But what I want to talk today about is when it's the right time. And the reality is that you've got to feel ready for it, okay? Raising your prices, whether or not you're looking to grow your business, increase your revenue, whatever, raising your price doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell it. You've got to feel good about it and you've got to feel confident in it. All right, I'm going to give you a really great example. I had a client who we've raised her price on a service that she provides multiple different times. It was in beta, and then once she got it through beta and we got a little bit more clear on it, she raised it up. Then we increased the amount of hours this service was off that you got included with it, so we raised it again. And then she's been sitting at this one price point for quite a while. She feels really comfortable with it. And then somebody got in her ear and said, you really should be raising your price on that. And so we had this whole hour-long conversation and we talked about it. And I said, okay, go ahead. Then if you feel good about it, raise your price. And so a week goes by and she sells out the service for the month. It's a VIP day service where she can only offer so many per month. And she texts me and she says, I'm sold out of my VIP days per month. And every single one of them was at the old pricing. And I said, well, that's really awesome, but what happened to the new pricing? And she said, I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I feel very comfortable at the price point I'm at. I feel very comfortable talking about it. I feel very comfortable sharing it. And so I want to stick with that right now. I know that we talked about raising it, but I don't feel comfortable with it. And that in itself is by far the most important thing you need to think about when it comes to raising your prices. There's a coach, consultant, friends, family, everybody in the world could be telling you that you need to raise your price. If you don't feel comfortable with it, you will not sell it. Period. End of story. What's going to happen? I've seen it happen. I've done it. I've been there myself. I mean, what happens is you either, when somebody says to you, well, how much, what's the investment or what's your services cost? If you don't feel comfortable with it, you're going to hesitate. The tone in your voice is going to change. You're going to say, well, I'll send you a proposal, or, the price is this, but there's always room, let me know if it fits in your budget, or let me know if you need a payment plan. You're going to constantly be underselling yourself. And so that's the difference in whether or not you should raise your price or not. If you can sell all day long at a price, let's just say $9.97. If your service, product, whatever, $9.97, you can sell that all day long. And you know that when somebody comes to you and they say, can you tell me what the investment looks like? And you can say the investment's $9.97. This is what you're going to get for it. This is how it works. This is what you need to do. Here's the deposit. There's a tone in your voice where it feels very confident. People feel confident. People sense that. Then you go and raise your price to $14.97 because somebody told you to, and somebody says, what's the investment? And you go, well, it's It's $14.97, but let me know if that works for you, or if you need a payment plan, or your whole tone of voice changes if you're not ready to do it. All right. So yes, there are factors that you need to consider as far as, like I said, whether or not your profitability is there. But the biggest factor I really want you to take into consideration is, do you feel comfortable with this? Is this slightly outside your comfort zone? And what I would say to you is raise your prices smaller. You don't need to jump from $9.97 to $3,000 or $9.97 to $5,000 or whatever it is. You could go from $9.97 to $11.97. Put yourself in these smaller increments. Like, get used to saying it, get used to feeling it, and know that, like, just because it doesn't sell maybe, and here's the other thing, what's going to happen is, like, sometimes when you raise your prices, that's going to eliminate certain people. It does not mean that your prices are too high. It doesn't mean that, it just means that maybe that your audience you can't serve that audience anymore. And again, you have to make that decision. Do you want to still serve this audience that can possibly only afford you at this level? Or do you want to move beyond that audience a bit and you want to serve at this, the next level? And so you have to understand that it might mean that you can't serve everybody if you raise your prices. That's a very personal decision. No coach, no consultant, a coach or consultant can give you the pros, the cons, the reasons, can push you through that comfort zone, can encourage you to do it. And that's what they're there for. But ultimately, it falls back on you. If you don't feel comfortable with it, if you're not happy about it, if it's not in alignment with you, if it doesn't feel good. I had a client, I tried telling her to raise her price 3 times. She said, Michelle, it doesn't feel in alignment with me. I don't feel comfortable with it. It's not important to me. It's not why I got in business, and I don't want to do it. How can you argue that? How can you argue that? If somebody tells you that's not why they got in business, you can't argue that, okay? That's a very personal thing. So my answer is, when is the right time to raise your price? The right time to raise your price is when you feel comfortable doing it. When you feel confident in yourself that you can actually sell if you raise your price. Okay? Again, raising your price. If she had that client that had raised, if she had raised her price in 1997, she maybe would have sold 1 of them because her confidence would have been down here. But because she felt confident at $14.97, she sold 5 of them. So let's talk about scaling your business that way. 5 at $14.97 or 1 at $19.97, right? You need to think about it from a different perspective. Do it when you feel comfortable with it, when you feel ready. And if you need help figuring out what that next step is, a coach, consultant, strategist can help you with that. But ultimately, you're the one that has to sell it. You're the one that has to talk about it. So it's got to be a decision that you're ready to make. And that's when it's time to raise your prices. All right. I hope that was helpful. I would love to hear your feedback. We'll talk soon. Thanks again for joining. Have a great day.